Hi, Pat from Unsigned Pop Punk here. Living in Minnesota, you all probably think we're a bunch of super sexy lumberjacks because of our beards and our flannels. Well, you couldn't be closer to the truth. Our weather is so insane and unpredictable, it's just easier to be prepared. That's why I get my flannels from OnlyFlans. OnlyFlans is a music lover's new favorite shop. They take merch from your favorite bands and customize the back of the flannels with those shirts. All flannels are handmade and are one of a kind, meaning no one will ever have the same flannel as you. You can find your favorite pop punk, emo, rock, or hardcore bands such as Blink-182, My Chemical Romance, Motionless in White, Motley Crue, and much more. There are new releases weekly, so make sure you follow them on their Instagram and TikTok at OnlyFlans, spelled OnlyFlanz. And make sure you stop by www.onlyflans.com. Once again, that's www.onlyflanz.com and pick up your new favorite flannel today. Thank you so much again to OnlyFlans for sponsoring today's episode.
Welcome back to another episode of Where Did All My Friends Go? And I'm doing the intro today because I was late to the podcast. Thank you, Apple, for updating my Macintosh. That's about it. Dude, we had Fraser from Chief State on, and this was a really derailed podcast. I mean, I personally love it when it gets derailed, but I also joined halfway through.
You literally joined and derailed all at the same time.
Literally, it was like instantaneous. I heard Best Buy and drums and was like, "Let's fucking go." You know what I mean? Like, it just sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do.
Can we also talk about how our D&D campaign is growing and growing?
The need.
If you guys don't know about our growing D&D campaign, hit us up because our crew is getting ready, and it's gonna get wild and crazy. And why don't we get into the episode, and real quick before we get into the episode, we wanted to start something we wanted to try and start something. We want to see you guys at shows. So if you guys have visited the show, remember how we were actually trying to actually put we
it
talked about this.
We talked about this once.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I've brought it up a couple times on the old Instagram too.
Yeah. But we're gonna try to actually make this a thing. So if you guys have attended a concert this week, between Monday and Monday, please share the photos. Comment our name on whatever it is. Comment
tag us on
Punk,
tag us on Instagram,
hashtag
Twitter.
It. The hashtag see you at the show, and we'll be following that.
We will share it as well.
Absolutely. This is going to be another fun way. And if you're in a band that is promoting your shit, hashtag see you at the show. We want to be able to start a brand new community within the community that we've kind of already started.
Yeah, we want to also, include not only just bands and artists, but fans and the people going to the shows, because you can't have a show without the people watching the show.
Absolutely.
And so if you're out there watching our show, take a little snapshot, hashtag see you at the show, and tag Unsigned Pop Punk, and we'll share it. And you can see yourself on our page. It's cool. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. You can see what everybody else in your community is up to.
Yeah, and you can check out all the shows that have been going on throughout that week. It doesn't matter if it's a local show or a big show. It doesn't matter if it's a huge full out concert. Who cares?
Just a show. Get out and go see a show.
And see music. See music. See a band. Listen to music. Yeah, there we go. That said, let's get into the episode.
Welcome to another episode of Where Did All My Friends Go? A podcast about life in the music industry. Today we've got Fraser from the band Chief State on the show. Chief State's a pop punk band from Vancouver, Canada, who just released their latest album, Waiting for Your Colors, on July 1st. Welcome to the show, Fraser.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Heck yeah. How are things been? Pretty busy?
Yeah, it's been pretty busy. We've just gotten back from a month out on the road We went out on tour with a couple of different bands, a couple of different tours during that time, and we got home, I think, about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago. So it's been pretty hectic. Obviously, all this coincided with the release of the album as well. So it's been a pretty busy time.
Heck yeah! Who are you just out with?
We did the first couple of weeks with Calling All Captains.
Sure.
And then we did the last portion with Wilmette and fucking
oh yeah.
Settle Your Scores. Yeah. I just had a complete brain.
Yeah, sure. No worries. Were the shows really good then?
They were, yeah. We had some really good shows in this one. I mean, this is our third time in the US, and these were, I think, the best shows that we had done. We had played some shows earlier when we were starting off in 2018 with Belmont, so a few of those were really cool. But yeah, some of these shows were really, comparable with that. And we had some Tuesday night shows, of course it happens, but
absolutely.
For the most part, yeah, the shows were, fantastic.
Where was this last run? Was it like kind of the entire United States, or just like West, East Coast, or?
Yeah, we got as much done as we could. We went down the West Coast, and then through across Arizona into Texas, and then did Texas. And then we met up with the dudes in Settle Your Scores and Wilmette up in the Midwest, and then did a run around there.
Okay.
We were supposed to come back through and play a few shows on the way home. Vehicle issues meant that we kind of finished off in Chicago and Omaha, instead of doing the, through Denver and Salt Lake City and
sure.
A couple of other shows booked, but we did as much as we could.
Heck yeah. I mean, those aren't a bad spot to end, Chicago and Omaha are usually always pretty good spots. So
hell yeah, Chicago was, I think, easily the best show, and Omaha, funny, it's kind of quite a bit of an obscure place. It's the place that I never really had heard of.
Where'd you play at? Was it Reverb Lounge or?
No, this time we ended up doing a 4th of July house party on a lake, private event. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, we've just ended up in Omaha quite a few times, and it's always really
it's a good spot.
Yeah.
I really enjoy Omaha. I actually was just in Omaha a couple weeks ago randomly. So because I'm currently in Minnesota, all the way up north.
Okay, yeah.
Up in Duluth, so I'm about 2 hours from Canada.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we did have a show booked in Minneapolis, and that was one of the shows that had to get cut with the vehicle. In the end, what had happened is our vehicle died basically, and we had to leave it in Chicago for part of the tour to get fixed. And in that time, we found a rental for an RV, and that's how we kind of finished what we could. But that rental had a date and a deadline to get it to Seattle. And so that's why we ended up having to, cancel.
Where were you supposed to be in Minneapolis? Do you remember?
It was, I think, I want to say Cadence Records was the
Cadence Records.
Yeah.
That's a good place. That's a really fun venue. It's small, but it's one of those venues that's like, it's easy to pack out. It's a smaller area, and the crowd's always really good at Cadence Records. It's a fun spot.
Yeah, for sure. We had a couple of local bands on that show, and they were telling me about it. So I was pretty excited for that one. Sucks that we couldn't make it happen.
Next time, though.
Next time.
So you began releasing singles and promoting the new album in March, 4 months prior to the release of the album. For our listeners that are in bands and looking to learn more about releasing their own music, what would you say is the benefit to starting your promotion that early and releasing multiple singles ahead of the album compared to releasing an album or an EP all at once?
I mean, I guess I'll start by saying there's definitely, in my experience, no right or wrong way of doing this. I think we started a little earlier, or rather we released a little later than we wanted. But that was to do with the tour and how we wanted things to line up with that release, and getting the album out kind of near the middle of that tour. So That's why we did it that way. But personally, I prefer to get at least 2 or 3 singles out, and ideally, I would say kind of 2 to 3 months after the first single, bringing out the album. That's kind of how I would want to do it, and I think it that way because you just kind of build up more hype with the singles. Every time you release one, you can push the the pre-sales on the album and pre-sales on merch and that sort of thing. So that was the idea, that was the goal. This campaign was pretty successful for us, like in terms of comparing it with previous releases. So I mean, maybe it works. Taking 4 months, who knows? But I don't know. Ideally, I'd say 2 or 3 months is probably the way to go.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that. That's one of the things we've talked about on the show a few different times before. It's better to be putting out singles ahead of an album, as many as you can, because that just gives you something to constantly promote for yourself. If you put out an album all at once, you have that one thing now. That is your one thing to promote. And now how do you spread that out?
For sure. And I mean, it definitely works for some bands. Like, for example, No Pressure just dropped that album out with nothing, no promo, nothing. They just said album's out. And, for bands maybe with a kind of more of a cult following or that sort of thing, perhaps that works. I think for smaller bands like us, we got to do a bit more of the promo and the pushing and the, hey, we're still here. We're doing stuff.
Remember us. We are here. We're here.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And especially with nowadays with, social media and attention spans being significantly shorter, it takes a lot more to get your name stuck in someone's head. You gotta work harder. You gotta push harder.
Yeah. 100%.
So Chief State formed in 2016. You released your first 2 EPs, I Just Need Some Time and I Just Need Some More Time, in 2017. How would you say your music has grown since that first EP?
Wow, he's doing me dirty there, dragging up the old dirt.
It's good stuff, though.
That's actually really funny you mention it, because it's a weird situation. We had to kind of go through a talk about that EP. You won't find it on your regular streaming services anymore. We decided that it didn't do us justice. That first EP. We started practicing as a band in mid 2016 and dropped that. I think first or second month of 2017, and we were like, hey, we're a band. And a lot of that was just, I think, me just wanting to get going with it, because we had already been writing for a couple of years and I was just getting sick. So we pushed that, we rushed that, I would say. And yeah, it's one of those things where I think it was last year, we were just like, it doesn't do us justice. Let's cut it. Let's get it out. It does exist online. You can find it in certain spots. If anyone really wants to go digging for it.
It wasn't that hard. I found it.
Bandcamp and YouTube. There you go. It's actually really funny. I was in the car today and driving to work, and one of those songs came on shuffle, and I hadn't heard that song. I'm not kidding, in years. And I was like, it wasn't that bad. Recording quality was pretty poor, but it wasn't.
No, they're good. They're solid songs, though, man. They're good songs.
I think that's what it was. If we talk about it now, we'd probably say that we rushed a little bit of that. I think in terms of how we grew from that to Nothing More Than This, which is what we kind of officially consider our first EP. You can obviously hear it in the production quality, but songwriting, I think we really tried to push for, I think, catchier hooks, stronger leads. The lead guitar is massively different between the 2 EPs.
Sure.
And yeah, I think the hooks really, with choruses, we wanted to really blast and get it in people's heads. And I think we went a little bit faster with a couple of those songs as well. We just kind of gave it a lot more time and consideration with that EP. And I guess in general, that's kind of what I'd say the major differences were.
I mean, quality wise, it's still, I mean, for a first EP, it's still good. Bear's finally here. But so, I mean, what I was going to say with that though, is like, I mean, most bands' first EPs are just like, we made music, let's get it out there. This is going to be awesome, you know, and you're just stoked to release something. You're not typically thinking of, the highest quality every time. I think when I recorded one of my band's first EPs, is we didn't even know how we completely self-produced it, and we had no way to record drums. So we had a friend that worked at Best Buy when Best Buy had a music area, and we recorded the drums on an electronic drum kit inside Best Buy. You know, you use what you got.
You got to do it, right? However you got to do it. But that's creative as hell, considering, you know, you kind of self-produce it and have no idea how to do it.
Right.
Whatever works.
And, you know, that was the first one. And then after that, we, you know, went into his studio. And I think that's, you know, typically how you even want to go about stuff. You're just trying to get out there at first, and then you're like, okay, well, this was wrong. So let's do it. Let's learn from that.
That's kind of with us for sure.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, truly.
Oh yeah, nice of you to join us.
So,
you're talking about creative ways to record shit.
Well, we were just talking about, you know, their first two EPs that were secretive and hidden now, and I found them.
Took some digging,
and, you know, and then we're just talking about, you know, how the evolution of Chief State from there.
Fair enough. I came in at the right time for you to tell the story of you recording drums at a Best Buy.
Yeah.
I remember that. I think that's pretty freaking cool. So something that I've been like taking up slowly is
recording drums in Best Buys.
Yeah, actually, no, creating sound banks.
Okay.
So basically just dipping like the tiniest toe into the waters of like becoming a Foley artist, or like trying to figure out like what it takes, not like as a career option, but like I kind of want to see how they do it, or how you get all these cool production sounds. Like one of the, like some of the producers I follow, in order to get these like big cinematic sounds that they're looking for, they take like a little back scratcher, like massage, like a back massage tool, and they run it along a cello string, and it creates this really like big, like eerie sound. And I'm like, I'd love to be able to do something similar. Like, how can I just make sounds and just like make different sound banks? So you're talking about like, you know, recording drums at a Best Buy. It's like, let's do that. Let's fucking go around town like Best Buy with a mic, just like what is this? What if I take this video game and I just smack it against the counter? What is that going to sound like?
That's honestly so sick and inspiring. My girlfriend just got one of those massage gun things. I don't have a cello, but I have a guitar. So if you hear anything in the next couple of years that comes out by Chief State, it's like,
dude, I'll bet you could make a really like wicked sound out of that though. Just using that, like turn the gain all the way up and stuff. And
do this if you've never done this before. Take a bow, like a violin bow or a cello bow, and run it on your guitar.
Yeah, that makes it pretty rad.
That's really cool. Also, if you ever want to like increase your scope of sound without actually having to like do anything really different, buy yourself a fretless guitar or a fretless bass and just watch what you can do with that. Even with the slides and the movements, like it's so cool.
You wait, fucking 2024 Chief State prog punk.
Prog punk, yeah.
Just gonna be like just noise, noise punk this time.
It's coming.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Oh yeah.
So with that, there are a lot of incredible pop punk bands coming out of Canada right now, including you guys, Calling All Captains, Nicholas Rage, and Costin. The list goes on. Like, can you tell us a bit about the music scene up there?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of weird because I moved here because I wanted to be close to the US and start a band.
But not be in the US, which is
not
fair.
In the US.
Yes.
Which, I mean, from the outside, I've been to the US multiple times now, and I can safely say that it is a beautiful place full of beautiful people.
Yes.
You just have a couple of bad eggs. But the problem is a lot of bad.
A lot of
with some of the policies.
We've got a couple of good eggs.
We've got a
couple of good eggs.
Yeah, some of the recent policies, it's a little bit more than a couple of bad eggs. But
it's you know what's sad? You want to know what's sad about that?
Right now,
he probably knows more about American politics than the average American does. Think about that for a second.
We typically get the bad news. That's what I mean, and so.
If you want to know, let's get political for a second. If you want to know,
let's not.
No, I know. If you want to know like news, like actual unbiased news about like America, watch like the BBC or watch something from Canada. Yeah. You'll actually get like what's going on. Otherwise, you're gonna get something that's like just paid for ratings, and that's some bullshit.
Yeah,
I mean, there are a lot of nutty things about the US. That's for sure.
Man, I must have just joined and like thrown this podcast off the rails. This
you
is
did.
Fun.
We were on like a good track, and then you come in swinging.
Just come in talking about Foley artists and American politics. You know, the basics.
It's the times. I mean, if we had this interview maybe 4 months ago when we were talking about it, we probably wouldn't be so kind of riled up because of recent policies and the recent news. Yeah. It's insane. It's crazy. I was going to defend your country for a while there because every time I've been there,
the only thing worth defending in the US is pop punk.
That's true.
Okay.
But every time I've been there, you know, it's a great place. And
it's so beautiful. Like if you want to talk about like, you know, and we've talked about this on the podcast a couple times, but if you want to talk about what life is like in the music scene, not even just industry, but the music scene in the US, it's exponentially greater and bigger than other countries that we've like interviewed. So we interviewed royals from the UK, and they're talking about how like people won't drive 30 minutes to go see their favorite band. They want their favorite band to come to them. And it's like, people around here, because of how big the states are, drive 2.5, 3 hours, 4 hours, even just to go see their favorite band. Like we cross state lines, all sorts of stuff all the time. Like sometimes if I want to, I just drive to Illinois for a day, you know, like it's not that big of a deal. Whereas if you take that same mentality in like the UK, it's like, dude, you just went like 3 countries over. That's like, I don't know.
100%. And I mean, yeah, we've had people in that last tour just done now. Drove 5 hours, drove 6 hours, and that's insane just to see a small band, you know. I'm from the UK. People don't go to London. I live an hour and 45 minutes away from London, and people don't go, never go. And if they do go, it's a weekend event. It's not a day trip. It's a weekend event.
But it's only an hour and 25. That's like,
it's insane.
Like if you work, like
I drive 2.5 hours to band practice,
dude. And I'm sitting here like sometimes I've commuted an hour to work, so that's an hour there, hour back. It's like, it's not that big of a deal, but apparently that's like unheard of.
Like you know, back every time I go home and visit, it's like, hey, should we go here? And it's such a big effort. It's a 30-minute drive. It's like it's
a 13-minute drive.
That's my transit to work every day. Right? Yeah. Like crazy.
Yeah, 20 minutes. I mean, around here, like one of the things that we even talk about, like that people just in general, like if you live in Minneapolis, it's 20 minutes anywhere. No matter what, it's 20 minutes to go anywhere.
Exactly.
Which is like convenient. You know, like it's for me, it's 30 minutes to get into the city. Like I work 30 minutes away, so that's an hour commute every day.
Yeah, same for me.
And it's not that big of a deal.
Couldn't do that back, you know, when I lived in the UK, but it's effective, right?
That's wild. That's wild to think about. I want to go to the UK so bad.
So with that though,
great place to visit.
What is it like touring So I don't have a whole lot of extensive knowledge on like Canada. You know, you have the different provinces, the different cities within the provinces. So what's it like? So for us, it's like we release a tour. It's like, hey, we're hitting, you know, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois. We're, you know, hitting all these states. What's it like to go on tour in Canada? What would your route be? Something like that. Like, what cities would you be hitting?
Seattle, Portland. You just,
Washington, Oregon. We're just doing all the states, really.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, not to give Canada a bad rep, but kind of, I mean, we went on a massive tangent here, but kind of when I moved here, there wasn't too much at the time for local bands coming up. I would say there were a few, and a couple that just kind of aren't floating around anymore. But the timing of it, I would say, for us starting has been really good, because there are a lot of great bands. Captains, Youth Fountain, there's Nicholas Rage, like you said. There's some really cool bands coming up, and at the same time, there's bands on the island, Anchorage Blue and Paul Sport, loads, and really cool. But kind of, I would say 5 years ago, maybe there was slightly less, and I don't know whether that's just, you know, a bunch of people at the same time starting bands, or getting inspired by other people, who knows. But it's definitely picked up. I would say I've got the privilege of being able to compare the UK, the US, and Canada. And you know, you interviewed Royals, and they're not wrong. Most UK bands, a lot of UK bands I know, they don't even bother with England. They just skip and go straight into Europe, because the shows are way cooler there. And you know, in the UK, you get a lot of this, and you don't get that in Canada. What I would say about Canada is, you know, the population's smaller, but you go to the main cities, the shows are pretty much the same as what you do in the US. You know, considering where you are with your career and what bands you're playing, that sort of thing.
So
it's very comparable.
So with touring wise, though, in Canada, like Canada is obviously also very spread out. There are some, you know, areas that there's really nothing. so that there's nothing. So, so how do you guys do people in general do tours from one side to the other, or how does that work?
I've known a couple of bands that do it, because then, you know, if you stick in Canada, you don't have to do the US visas, which are fucking expensive.
Right.
It's a whole ordeal as well, very timely and costly. And honestly, getting your head around it is a nightmare. So there's definitely bands that do stick to Canada. The problem with it is, and we've never done it for this reason, there's 2 days at times without shows, because there's just nothing. You know, unless you're going to stop and play in a town of 1,000 people, or a village rather, you know, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
There's really no point. And there, you know, of course, if you are touring Canada, then sometimes you kind of got to do that and play a bar show and play to a bunch of locals that don't know you and hope for the best. But that's kind of the issue that you take on if you want to do a Canada tour, is that you've just got such vast areas of empty space. Even for us, you know, like we say the Western Canada and that sort of thing, and we've got us and Youth Fountain and Cool and All Captains and Nicholas Rage. For us to go and meet Cool and All Captains or meet Nicholas Rage, that's a 16-hour drive.
Oh shit.
We still call it we're Western Canada, but it's so far away. It's so far away.
That's true. So that's like our drive from here to Pennsylvania.
Right. And you know, you guys are kind of closer to the when we went out to the East and the Midwest, 2019, we were blown away, because it was like 3-hour drive show, 2-hour drive, another show.
Yeah. The most we'll drive, like, at least when I was doing my routing, the most that I would like be okay with driving is 5 hours. And even then that would push it.
That's tough though sometimes, man. Like sometimes being under 8, holy shit, that's tough. Sometimes.
But how do I say this? You might not get the show that you've wanted to get, and it might be farther away, but the opportunity is always there. So like, you know, if I want to tour, you know, the Midwest, I'm going to hit cities. Okay. So Chicago, 2-hour drive. From Chicago to Kansas, it's from Chicago to Springfield, Missouri. It's a 3.5, 4-hour drive. Springfield to Kansas City, 4-hour drive, and then go up to Des Moines, about a 4.5-hour drive, and then hit the Minneapolis, about a 3-hour drive. It's not crazy. It's, it's
way more manageable. Even out on the West Coast for you guys, it gets pretty crazy.
It does. Booking the West Coast is pretty hard though.
We always do the hell drive, which is Portland to Northern California, whether it's Sacramento or somewhere else. But
yup.
One of those overnight boards. Yeah.
The longest drive I had for a next day show was Vegas to Chicago.
Oh.
I drove.
Oh man,
yeah.
We were pretty lucky. I think the longest one we've just done this month or last month, we did El Paso to Dallas. So it was an overnight.
As I said, it's still about a 6 to 7 hour drive, isn't it?
Which is wild.
I think it was like 12 or something. But
holy shit!
You had to go through the night and
because El Paso. I mean, it's the pass. It's right on the border of Mexico and Texas. And then Dallas is like central, north central Texas.
It's wild to think just how big that one state is.
Oh,
it's just insane.
I've been in bands that have toured
they don't
just
need
that
much
state
space
for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Easy, man. We spent a week there and we didn't even play every city. There were definitely a couple more we could have fit in.
There's a lot of empty space though in Texas too. Like a ton. There's a lot of ranch property, or I guess ranch land. There's a lot of not mountains, desert and Rockies and all that kind of shit. So a lot of it's not very habitable. But neither is any bit of Texas. Let's be honest.
So we got a little derailed just talking about driving and routes and stuff. I'm gonna move on to our next question.
I feel I've done for a month. It's just like it's in my head. I close my eyes.
No, dude, I feel you. We kind of just did something similar. So we came from Minnesota, went straight down to Dallas, Texas. So that was a long drive for a festival.
Long drive. I mean, considering you drive across the country, that's insane. You just
top to bottom, pretty much.
Top to bottom.
But so in a world dominated by social media, what do you feel is the most useful form of social media to use while promoting the band?
It's a great question because, I mean, clearly we're not very good at it because, we're still, an up and coming band, you could say. It's tough. I mean, and it's always changing. Right now it's all about TikTok and, we've got friends in bands and their platform is kicking off and they're picking up more and more fans every day that way. I think that one in the year 2022, you have to say that's the most important one at the moment. Apparently the way the algorithms work is kind of more beneficial as well. So you could post something, it doesn't do much. If you do that on Instagram, it's dead. You do it on TikTok, maybe 3 hours later, 4 hours later, pop punk videos or band videos are like popping off. And so the algorithm picks you up and spits you back out there. So, I mean, there's cool benefits to it like that. I think that's got to be moving forward a bigger platform. And obviously video content is more entertaining than photos and that.
Yeah.
For us, we try and keep a healthy balance on all of it. I think you can tell kind of between who out of the band members who runs which platform, because on Twitter you get a bit more Star Wars and a bit more sass, and Instagram is a bit more to the point where it's, hey, this is happening.
I feel like Twitter is made for Star Wars and sass though,
I think so.
Specifically.
That's why Joe does it. That's why Joe in our band does it.
Our Twitter account is now just going to be Star Wars and sass.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's it. You've just got to have a healthy balance in all of them. I think some will come, some will go. I mean, Facebook seems to be a dying concept, I would say, in a lot of senses in terms of people using it. But then I find it
I literally only use it for marketplace. It is such a dead form of advertisement now. There's a select few, there's a select few groups that are still work. I mean, use it. It's a tool. You have to use it. You should be using it. But you don't put your money into it. That's the big one. It's like you don't put any excessive money into Facebook. It doesn't work that way anymore. But the trends like you're talking about, trends are TikTok. The trends are video content. YouTube now has reels that you can throw on. TikTok has stories. Snapchat has stories still. Like you can promote through Snapchat. Like
I don't understand the TikTok stories though. That's where I'm sitting. Like I am so confused about it because it is literally just TikTok.
Another TikTok.
It's just another.
It's just another TikTok. But you can scroll through just because it's more like, hey, what are your TikTokers doing now, today? Because like stories are stuff that you post today. They only last 24 hours. So it's like, it's like, hey, I could be a day in the life of this TikToker, and it's like, oh, hey, they're drinking that fucking coffee again. I don't know. But the idea, no coffee.
Oh, I
but
thought
the idea of stories,
where are they getting Duff?
I don't know. But the idea of stories is like to give your fans or your people, whatever it is, a little behind the scenes insight to what it's like to live like you. I guess I know that sounds kind of dumb, but it's a tool. Use it. Poor.
100%, and that's
really
it.
Poor, broke.
I was going to say for Facebook is definitely a dying one, but what I find quite useful still is there are still the community groups.
The groups are good. Yeah,
the group, and a lot of them are kind of there's a lot of non-music content going on, but there's still it's a place to communicate with people that like the same stuff. So I mean that's the only use I see there. Whereas
absolutely 5
years ago that was the most important one. So
right,
that's it. It constantly changes. At the moment, it's got to be TikTok, and we're. I mean, I'm on the wrong side of 30 now, so I'm not too up to date with TikTok. I've left that one.
Not there yet. Not there yet. Close.
So I got one more question, then we're gonna move on to our next segment. If you could give our listeners a piece of advice that you know now that you wish you knew when you were first starting out, what would it be?
Damn it is.
Yeah. Don't do it. Do you know what? Actually, I think given the drama that we've just been through with our vehicle, if you're going to go out and tour, look after your vehicle.
Smart.
Look after your vehicle. And the problem is that you never really have enough upfront investment to get a good vehicle. So
right.
If you're going in and you're getting something that's a little bit older or a little bit, it's seen better days, know that and look after it and do what you can and be, proactive about that as
oh my God. Yes.
Which is what we've just done. And it's put a massive hole in our pockets. So
this is the first time on our podcast that we've had someone mention that. And I've been dying for someone to do it.
We nearly just died. That's why. I mean.
Yeah. So, okay. While we're on this topic, because this is actually something that our listeners should know. Okay. So 2 things. One, whenever I become in a band again and whenever we start touring again, I am going to be picking up a YouTube channel called a DIY musician, like how to keep your van up to date and running. Because every single time that I've ever seen a friend's band go on tour, I see a GoFundMe 7 days later that says our van broke down. And it's like, okay, let's cover the basics here real quick. Let's talk about what the details of that actually is. Okay, number 1, check your fucking coolants, check your fluids, change your damn oil. I do not care how old the oil is. I don't care. Change the oil, no matter how new or how old it is. Take your van for a car wash. Go wash that car. Take care of that. Please do it and clean it out. 2, check your brakes, like your rotors. Please check your rotors. Take your van for a drive. If you feel wobble at all, the chances of it being your rotors are a lot more like bigger than anything else, only because if it was me or anything like I've witnessed, when you're not touring with a van, it's usually just kind of sitting there. So if it sits there, the heat gets into it and it can warp your rotors. Rotors are easy to replace. Just look up a damn YouTube video. It's so easy. It's not even funny.
I just changed my headlights by myself.
Right? Yeah. YouTube and Google. I'm guessing YouTube and Google.
Yep.
Learn how to change a spark plug. It's not hard. Learn what a spark plug is. Learn what a coil pack is. Learn what a serpentine belt or a timing belt, whatever year your vehicle would be, and learn how to change that. Super easy maintenance stuff that doesn't need like a lot. Mm-hmm. And the last thing that I have so much, but the last thing that I want to like leave everyone here with, bring a tool chest or a tool kit to keep in your van. I had a set of wrenches in the back seat, like in the pull out. The little cloth thing that's behind the seat. You just throw it
in
there.
The van, somewhere in the van.
In the van, I had ratchets underneath my seat, and make sure that your jack is working and you have a spare fucking tire. Like, just be prepared. It's not hard. It'll cost you less money to buy a good spare tire and jack than pay for a tow and a brand new tire and even rim. At that point, like a whole new wheel after a breakdown or like a popped tire or something that's going to send you flying. It's not hard. Just be prepared.
I'm going to add the key thing that has fucked us up was during the pandemic, no one drove it.
Oh, hi!
That's a long time. Mm-hmm. So, if you're not on the road, you still got to drive that car. You still gotta
drive it around a little bit.
You
gotta get it, keep it moving.
If you can, get someone to daily drive it, like insure it and use it for a month or two. And it needs to be like, because we had issues that couldn't be determined whilst we got it checked up before we left, but then happened a couple of days in. And those things, a lot of it you can't control, but if that van's not going to go on tour for a while, make sure and commit to still driving it and to running it,
because it is a commitment. One more tool that you should have. I'm sorry, but it's only like $60. It ranges from anywhere between like 20 to 80. It doesn't matter. An OBD reader. It's a little tool that you just plug in. Like if you take your car to AutoZone, Advanced Auto Parts, O'Reilly's, I don't care where you are. If you take it, they plug in a tool right into that port underneath the steering column. You can buy that tool for about $60. It'll give you a code. Take that code to Google or search let's say it's a Chevy, right? Type in Chevy code. There's an app for there's everything. Just type the code in, search it up. It'll give you exactly what it is. Diagnosed, simple. Before it gets any farther, go to an AutoZone and borrow a free set of tools. It's not hard, and get it fixed before it's a problem. Be like you said, proactive, not reactive.
Oh man, yeah. So I mean, I'm selling my car at this point. I'm just gonna drive that van every day, and at least I know it's looked after, right? And I don't drive too far. I mean, I do 10 minutes here and there.
Yeah. So Archers had me come with them to buy their van because they wanted me to look it over.
Oh, really? We just played with them in Dallas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's my older brother's band and some friends of mine's band. So they were because they saw all the mechanic work that I put into my van and how I took care of it. They were like, "Do you want to come with us to buy this van and see if it's any good?" I'm like, "Absolutely, I will." And then I checked it out. Totally fine. Then they screwed it up and got into an accident, and then or I think it was an accident, and then their engine block snapped. So that had a crack in it. So that sucked.
No, they were actually just checking out our setup at that show. I've forgotten his name, but the bassist.
Nate Porter.
Yeah. So he was blown away by our setup because we don't carry a trailer. We are so lightweight, and we just have the extended van took out the back two benches.
Well, it's not hard to blow his mind because all he does is bring a bass.
That's true.
It's literally all he does is bring the bass.
He was like, whoa! And it's like, man, you've got to go the bunk route. Get all your gear underneath you and sleep on top.
Sleep on top. You're good to go.
Hell yeah.
All right. And with that, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with our next couple segments.
Hey, Pat here with Unsigned Pop Punk. We're a community dedicated to building up the music scene by shining a spotlight on up-and-coming bands. Now, I know what you must be thinking. These guys must be raking in the cash. Wrong. But you can help us help others by picking up some merch. We found what big business is selling shirts for, and we slashed the prices. We saw what people are charging for sweatshirts, and we windmill kicked those prices in the face. So pick up some merch from us today. You won't be mad you did.
And we're back. Thank you guys once again for listening to the podcast. We're going to jump right into the obscure question segment. Are you ready?
I was born ready for this section.
No, you weren't. Don't lie to me. If you could only have one movie that you could watch for the rest of your life, what would it be? Told you weren't ready. Don't lie to me. Don't ever fucking lie to me.
Shrek.
Shrek?
Shrek's your movie, huh? Damn.
Is it for the meme, or are you just like genuinely like Shrek?
I think it's a fantastic movie. I mean, it's
all right.
Such a great movie. It still makes me laugh now.
It's a great movie. I love Mike Myers. It's hilarious.
That's it. And I've already committed to, it's probably the movie I've watched the most of. I can say the first 25 minutes, every single line. Like, I'm already halfway there, right? Like,
you're there. That's all you need.
I support that. Like, honestly, I support that a lot. I'm assuming Bear is some sort of Star Wars movie. Probably like the third one, like, because it's the best.
Just because Revenge of the Sith is one of the best Star Wars movies doesn't mean that I'm gonna pick it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Shrek in like 7 years.
You should give it a good go, man.
Should I give it a redo?
Yeah.
I'm currently watching a movie called what is it? Sea Beasts or whatever.
Oh yeah, I wanted to see that. That looked really good.
I'm like 40 minutes in. It's fantastic. It's so good. Yeah, it's like a Netflix original or what I'm like, what the I saw it on a TikTok. I was like, this looks amazing. And then I just watched it. It's kind of fantastic. It gives me like Sinbad meets How to Train Your Dragon vibes with like the animation. Like, it's pretty freaking cool. And I think it's Carl Urban as the voice, I think.
Okay, sure.
It sounds like Carl Urban, but
there's a show that just came out on Netflix that I've been meaning to watch, and it's with Mike Myers. It's called the Pentavarite.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, but I really want to. It's the concept of it is great because it's this random like conspiratorial organization, kind of like the Illuminati, that he created way back in the movie So I Married an Axe Murderer. It's when he plays the character of his like old father. His father is talking about the Pentavarite and how they control everything, and so he's like, "Fucking, I'll make it. I'll make the Pentavarite.
Fuck it, I'll make it."
I mean, where's
it looks
that guy
awesome.
been for so long? But I saw that he had brought that out, and I was like, all right, I'm in. I haven't watched it yet.
And honestly, another good one is I'm just binging the original series of Star Trek at the moment. It's actually pretty fantastic.
Which one?
The original series, the original Star Trek.
Yeah. Have you? Yeah.
I was more of the Star Trek Enterprise. I feel like you go back to the original, and it's like dudes in clearly visible suits.
It actually holds up significantly. The way they did it is like they did it.
It was
good.
Still groundbreaking. You know what I mean? Like it was still a very, very good with the special effects. Obviously, it was before Star Wars. It was before Lucasfilm. It was before Industrial Light and Sound, which was George Lucas's company. So it was all before that, but it was all mostly practical effects.
Yeah.
Which is pretty freaking cool. But yeah, you get the cheap looking suits, you get the cheap
it was
props.
the 60s, man.
Yeah, it wasn't
let's
great.
keep this in mind. It was like roughly 60 fucking years ago.
That's insane.
Think about that for a second.
And what's cool too is like the actors still have to, how do I say this? They have to act better and more, I guess, to sell it, because they're not relying on anything else but acting. And I'm not saying it's a discredit to actors nowadays. That's not what I'm saying. But we're in music, right? We know what it's like to. I could just time edit that take, just cut and splice it, copy paste. You know what I mean? Like, whereas back then,
you have as many bands if we were back in the 60s. That's
Oh yeah, absolutely,
absolutely. Which, I mean, take me back. Let's go.
So. Yeah, but and also on his point, now I know we're talking about Star Trek a little bit, but that's also because me and Bear have like recently starting to watch Star Trek for like the first time, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen episodes when my dad was watching, but I didn't care.
So I was watching. I texted Bear like last week, I think, sometime. I was watching the Star Trek number 5, the movie number 5. And this is what's wild to me. I think the movie came out in like 1989, right? Yeah. And Captain Kirk, William Shatner, at the beginning of the movie, he is climbing a mountain.
Captain Kirk is climbing a mountain. Why is he climbing a mountain? Captain Kirk is climbing a mountain. Why is he climbing a mountain? To hug the mountain, to envelop that mountain. Why do I climb the mountain? Because I'm in love.
Okay. Like for fun, he's just like mountain climbing. And 1989, right? How old do you think, William Shatner was in 1989?
I have no idea.
Dude, the motherfucker was in his 60s.
He's just
60s. Just climbing mountains. Just climbing mountains, fighting people. He's in his 60s, man. And he looks like he's in like his 40s. It's insane. The dude is 90 something years old.
Yeah,
currently.
He's older than Sir Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, he is 10 years older than Patrick Stewart. And Patrick Stewart looks like the world's grandfather.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart. Aside from Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart is the oldest man alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just insane though, because if you were to look at those two dudes like side by side, you're like, well, obviously Patrick Stewart is like much older.
That's I mean, the whole Enterprise, what's that, 80s, 90s? Man,
Enterprise,
like,
I think, was in the 90s or
we're talking
2000s.
about. Are we talking?
That's with
Enterprise.
The dude then was probably like, I don't know, 30. He just looked double it,
because the dude Enterprise was with the dude from like Quantum Leap or wasn't it?
And it had I can't remember, but it was definitely more modern. But okay, so we're on this topic of
that was in the 2000s, because Star Trek The Next Generation was in the 90s.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's the one I'm thinking of.
Okay, with Patrick Stewart.
Yeah. Because they're on board the Enterprise, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there is one called Enterprise, though.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was thinking. I was like,
I've missed that one.
That's fine. It's cool. But okay, so the 3 oldest men that I like, not like by like age, but like you think that like the oldest men alive is William Shatner, Sir Patrick Stewart, and 4. Sorry, Ian McKellen and Christopher Lee. But I think Christopher Lee is dead.
Yeah, Christopher Lee passed away.
But I was thinking about Christopher Lee. Did you know he was the inspiration for James Bond?
Who was Christopher Lee?
Christopher Lee, because his, I think it was like his cousin-in-law, was the writer, the author for James Bond. And on top of that, do you remember the extended edition of Lord of the Rings when his character gets stabbed and he lets out that like sharp gasp, like that, remember that when Sauron gets stabbed? Well, Peter Jackson was like, I want you. Okay, fair enough. Peter Jackson, the director, was like, I want you to like yell. And he was like, because Christopher Lee served in World War II, and I think it was even like World War One when he was really, really, really young.
It wouldn't shock me. Yeah.
But he was like, he literally looks at Peter Jackson and goes, "Have you ever heard what it's like when a man gets stabbed? Because I have." and Peter Jackson was like, "Okay," just walked away. Like, how fucking badass is that? I mean, that's horrible. But like, the dude's just like, yeah, that's not what people.
That's not what happens.
That's not the sound they make when they get stabbed in the back, because you're getting stabbed in the lungs. Like, you don't look, you're like,
right.
like,
right.
It's like,
absolutely.
Shit. Okay.
We got one more obscure question for you. If you had to create a Dungeons and Dragons character, what would you be and what would you name yourself?
Oh man, I don't know. I only ever played this once, so and everyone didn't want to play with me because I made myself super cool or something. I didn't know you had to be like, kind of lenient with it. I went full out. I was like, yeah, it's kind of badass, and I don't know, maybe someone who has wings and can fly, because that would be sick. I don't know what superpower or anything I'd have, or any kind of attack, but some kind of flying swoop.
Okay, I like it.
I don't know, name. The name, I'm not sure where we're going to go with that. We'll go for French Cade Lavender. Actually, Velusa. That's the name of this candle behind me. So I'm going for Velusa.
Ooh,
Velusa.
I like that. That's good. That's a good one.
This candle is like safe.
Wait, hold up. Pat, look around you in the next 5 seconds. Look at something that you have, and then like your character would be that. What would it be?
Lastalka.
Mine would be Arturia.
Ooh, gosh. We got some really good names here, guys. We should start a campaign.
Dude, I want to get into D&D so bad. So bad. Look, any
I got some dice
out there.
I haven't played, but I bought dice because I wanted to play.
I have dice too. If there are any listeners out there that want to do some D&D, we could do a D&D campaign over Zoom. I am so serious. Let's fucking go.
Dude, I got Christian from Settle Your Scores, who you got the little shirt on. Yeah. Dude, we've been talking about D&D in it. Let's do it.
There we go. And I mean, he's got to have a just as cool name as well to join.
I'm pretty sure he is like just a ton of. He's got a stack of names he's already came up with. He's like, "Oh, do you need things? Here's a list. Here you go. Here's a list of names and characters and classes. You're good."
All right, you did it. You made it through the obscure question segment. We're gonna move on real quick to the next segment, which is the rapid fire question segment.
Yep, this one's.
Don't lie to me. Don't tell me you're ready.
No. He's ready. He's got this. He's got this. It's super easy. You're just going to speak from the heart, shoot from the hip. And here we go. Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Mario or Luigi?
Mario.
Gwen Stefani or Haley Williams?
Haley Williams.
Hard shell or soft shell tacos?
Soft shell.
Last question. Sum 41 or yellow card?
Some. It's got to be some. Canada represent.
See, I was about to say that when I hopped in. We were talking about like bands from Canada. I'm like, isn't Sum 41 from Canada?
Sum 41 is from Canada.
Isn't Avril Lavigne from Canada?
Avril Lavigne is from Canada.
So my girl and my boy.
Grizzly Adams did have a beard.
Oh my god!
Well, that's it. You did it.
You made it.
You made it through the podcast. All that's left is just let everybody, give everybody, your info. Where can they find you? What's next? Let's hear it.
The delivery was fantastic.
I know.
As he's drinking a hard Mountain Dew, send me one.
It's not. It's the Major Melon. It's just regular.
Oh, I gotta figure that one out. I gotta get that. I might
good.
go to the store. Okay,
All right.
sorry. Floor is yours. Go ahead.
Mountain Dew, and no, wait, hold on. Chief State. Chief State's where it's at.
You can find Mountain Dew at all
Mountain
of your
Dew at
local
all-
gas stations. Okay.
Every gas station is Chief State in all gas stations across the US.
Gas
That'd be
station
sick.
tour. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Man, let's
Rooftop
go,
gas
let's
station
go.
tour.
That's all I've
You
seen
will
for
see
months.
me. I will make a pit in the Quick Trip.
There's like, you will see me thrice.
It's Bucky's for me. It's Bucky's. I just wanna go to the
Bucky's.
store
Yeah,
at Buc-ee's.
we're gonna hit Quick Trip, Bucky's, Wawa, Sheets.
Let's go. Yeah, she's fuck.
We're gonna hit the other Quick Trip that has the QT in Kansas City for all my
There you go.
Kansas City homies.
Yeah. So other than that, you'll find us online. But check out the album, Waiting for Your Colors. We just dropped that
Yes.
month. So go check that out. And hopefully in the future, couple months' time, we'll have some more announcements on tours and that sort of thing. But we'll see how that goes. Maybe an acoustic EP. We'll see what floats our boat. But for the time being, Waiting for Your Colors is brand new. So go and check that out.
Well, thank you so much for being here, guys. This has been another episode of Where Did All My Friends Go? A podcast about life in the music industry. And we will catch you next Monday.
Thank you so much for checking out the show. Please hit that like, subscribe, or follow button so you never miss an episode. And thank you so much to those of you who already are. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or anywhere else you stream your podcasts. If you're in the position to help us grow and like behind the scenes access and exclusive shows, head on over to our Patreon at www.patreon.com/unsignedpoppunk. Let us know in the comments who you'd like to see on the show and what other content you'd like to see. Thank you all so much.